Joseph W. Brady urges Spring Valley Lake residents to attend the February 19th Lafco meeting. He explains the reasons why.
There is a Lafco hearing on February 19th, Wednesday, February 19th at 9 o'clock down at the Lafco building in San Bernardino. So it's the Local Agency Formation Commission. It's the San Bernardino County, and it's in the train station building over off of 3rd. So I really encourage residents from Spring Valley Lake to be there. There is, I believe it's a 7-member board with Lafco. Supervisor Lovingood will be voting. Kimberly Cox from Hellendale is on the board, and she'll be voting. Jim Bagley, who I know, is going to be voting. So they have recently put out another study for comment. I read it and commented on it. It was really more the environmental aspects of looking at, were there any environmental issues impacting this particular transaction. And at the end of the day, Tom Dobson, who is really a renowned individual out of San Bernardino County, does a lot of this work, came up, and there was very, very few environmental issues to really worry about. I think what was interesting is I went to the October 2nd and November 16th open forums. One was held at the community building, and one was held at the Equestrian Center. Rory Shannon and Steve Garcia, Steve's the committee chair, and Rory Shannon had put together a report. And Sheila Bath and I will be meeting very, very soon to go through and look at the franchise fee issue, the trash issue, the waste issue, the card. So residents get a card based on what they pay to the county on their property taxes to be able to take so many dumps a year. And then I reached out to a couple of members of the committee, Dr. Paul Stanton, who's a very well-known orthopedic surgeon, and Jim Carr and Steve Garcia, but really Dr. Stanton, said, can I have a copy of the PowerPoint? And he emailed back. He said, well, it wouldn't be fair if we gave you that because it would really be showing favoritism. And we kind of went back and forth with a pretty challenging email. And I said, if the committee really wants to be transparent, then let's not talk about being transparent. Let's be transparent. I'm working to Steve Garcia and Rory and I will have a meeting probably sometime in early February to go through probably close to, I've created about 30 pages of information. I had initially proposed in 2008 and 2009 through emails that we still have. So one of the members of the committee was incorrect, that I'm upset that I wasn't a part of this. I originally suggested we do this in 2008 and 2009 with Larry Hoover and Jim Carr and a couple others. And then I went back in 2014 and reached out to Rory Shannon and said, maybe we should take a look at this. But now we're in 2020, and when I started looking at this in May of 2019, I read the original report, and I read it once, twice, and 3 times. I highlighted it, and poor Wendy in my office had to type all the summaries. That summary of what I came back with, all the question I came back to Rory and I and Steve will now sit down, and I will give him the report. We will transmit the report. I'm going to ask him to take those questions in my memo to him, and it's multiple pages, and publish it on his website if he really wants to be transparent about it. There's been a lot of questions asked at the open forums, and there were a couple of open forums before I even attended. And out of the questions that have come about or people have asked me, we have emailed the county, and in particular Mr. Luther Snokes, who's the interim director for San Bernardino County Special Districts. He took over from a gentleman by the name of Jeff Rigney. And when I originally talked to Jeff about this at the very beginning, he said, Joe, the community really has to decide where it wants to go. But in the open forums, the 2 that I went to, there were some questions asked and some answers given that were not quite correct. So Spring Valley Lake is not the 850-pound gorilla in the room with the cost of the county. We account for 35% of the expense. So I took the questions, each question was ever asked by somebody, and we emailed it to Luther Snokes. We now have the date of the email that went, and we have his response back. I will give those to Rory Shannon and to Steve Garcia, and hopefully to share with the committee. And hopefully they're smart enough to post them, because I'm going to post them, because I think that people want to see them. So none of them have been altered. They've been an email forward and an email back, and Wendy just transcribed them. I said, I don't want anything touched because I want them to stay in place. I had suggested at the October 2nd meeting and the November 16th meeting, can we have somebody take a look at water rates? And then somebody in Spring Valley Lakes community emailed me over a document in October, and it showed page 87 of his annual report. So anybody watching this could go to the Phelan Pinyon Hills CSD, look at their annual report, go to page 87, take a look at water rates, and look at where Sheep Creek is, look at where Pinyon Hills is, and look at where CSA 64 in Spring Valley. We are absolutely the lowest. Spring Valley Lake's water is by far cheapest. So we have the cheapest water. VVWRA has a new general manager who's just hired. He sent me a copy of the letter that he sent to Lafco. So what happens is they charge a rate that goes to the county. The county has to put an administrative fee on it, just like our CSD would have to do anyway. I mean, if you get a bill from another agency and you send that same bill out from this new CSD, you're not going to send it dollar for dollar because you have to administrate it, print it, file it. There's got to be some insurance that's going along with it. So when people say, well, maybe the county's like marking up our sewer rates. Well, the county offers us human resource and engineering, and they offer us, legal. They offer us so many different values that we can't risk management. Those are services as a smaller CSD you just don't have. We're able to leverage off the county. So if something were to happen here, they're able to pull their crews in really quick and make something happen on a well. Where if it's us, now we got to hold a special board meeting, get emergency funds and all that. So the last 2 months have been rather interesting. We'll be meeting with Rory and Steve. And the only thing I'm going to ask them, and I'm going to tell the viewers here, is please post this. Now, to make it easier to be sure that we do that, I'm going to offer my email address that's monitored by April Tyler in our office. I get a lot of emails at the office, and it's josephwbrady56@gmail.com. So josephwbrady56@gmail.com. If you want to send me an email and put your name in the subject line and put down SVL CSD, April's going to keep those, and at the right time, we're going to call a meeting and just let the community discuss this. Terry, I want to make something really clear. I have no interest in being a chairman of this. I'm probably going to throw my hat in for the upcoming Spring Valley Lake Association Board Directors. I'm very concerned about what's going on there. But the community needs to get involved in this, and this is a community issue. It needs to be discussed. It's not a question of, we're going to beat Joe. No, this is about our 4,215 lots, our 13,000 residents, although the Lafco report shows that the census showed that we had about 7,000 residents, which the census report might be different. We're making an estimate based on data that we get. We have an association that has an assessed value of almost $1 billion. It's $981 million. And that includes a lot of people who have lower assessments because they've owned their homes in there for so long under Prop 13. So I'm asking again the committee, let's be professional about this. Let's work to be sure that we are really encouraging a vote. Or out at Hellendale, after that was passed, and it was passed it was a narrow victory. They had a lawsuit out there. So I want to be sure if 42, actually there's 5,300. We just ordered the data. It's in process. We just ordered the data, and I believe it's going to come out to be about 5,500 registered voters within the C. So if you're a resident, and you're not a registered voter, you don't get to vote. Okay. If you're an investor and you live there, you get to vote. If you're a tenant and you're registered, you get to vote. So I want to be sure the 5,500 people that vote are the people that really understand this, and that whatever group is involved in this really sits back and says, if we really care about the community, raise the money, do whatever you got to do to be sure that the information is factual. Because I will assure you that I will be sure that to do that, and I will do videos like this, and I'll probably do some mailings. And I've had all kinds of people contact me that are really frustrated because they don't feel like they're being heard. And I'll close and say this. And I've never used this gentleman's name before. I'm not now well-known, well-established businessman. I've known him for 30 years. We're not social buddies. We've never had lunch together. lives in Spring Valley Lake. He was at the October 2nd meeting. He said, our country club's in trouble. And it is. And the association is attempting to work with Club Corp, although I don't know why it's taking as long as it is, to come to some kind of an agreement that might benefit not only Club Corp, but benefit the association. He said, let's take care of that first. Let's take care of our lake second. And then let's take a look at the CSD as we go down the road. Well, somebody called me the other day, and they had seen one of the videos, and they said, Joe, the Lake Committee is doing a great job, and, Dr. Stan's on there, and Larry Hoover's on there, and I said, I know them, and I'm sure they're doing a great job. But I said to this person, I said, I was the chairman of the Finance and Budget Committee in 2006, 7, and 8, and you know what I heard then? We got a great Lake Committee, they've got the problem under control. And while I've been doing my investigation about Spring Valley Lake, I've had a history book that I created when I first came here 30 years ago, and Bob Shear helped me put together. And Boise Cascade admitted 5 years after they opened up the lake that they were having problems. So this is not Joseph Brady pointing a finger at anybody or me saying that this committee is not doing a great job. The proof will be in the pudding, but let's take care of the country club first. Be sure that it's done, it's stabilized, it's improved. I mean, it needs $1.5 million worth of improvements, and it's a great asset. It's a great golf course with some great members down there. Let's take care of our lake. Let's be sure that one of the greatest assets that we have here, one of the best man-made lakes in the state, one of the last man-made lakes in the state, is take care of. And then let's take a look, further look. I don't think that there's a reason for the rush to judgment. I will be at the February 19th meeting. I am going to say this, and this may bother some people. I'm going to ask my former good friend Robert Levengood, who was, I think, the chairman of Lafco. I think he was chairman. I mean, at one point, I think he was. He's obviously our supervisor until next year, till December this year. And my friend Kimberly Cox. Kimberly has been very instrumental in helping this group. Robert's office apparently wrote the check to help the application process. I think that they need to recuse themselves. I think it'd be the appropriate thing to do. Whenever a vote comes to the college and something comes up as something I've been involved with or I've received some money to the newsletter of, I always put on the record and I ask the other board members and I ask the audience if it's inappropriate. And I think there's a time that you just say, let's let the residents in Spring Valley Lake rather than the politicians dictate what we should do. So, yeah.
Be watching for Joseph W. Brady online updates on the High Desert Quality of Life Survey, Victor Valley College, the upcoming March 2020 election, and Spring Valley Lake.